Greetings, everyone. How you all doing today? Happy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, yeah, and today is a Mercury day. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oreo flip. Nice, that's cute. Good morning. Good morning, Kima. Good morning, Matthew. How y'all doing? Good morning. All right, you all. So much is happening astrologically. Good morning, Divine Feminine Works. So much is happening astrologically, and Mercury Day. When I look at the astrology, I always look at the astrology and my life to see what's really going on with me, and to see how my life is interpreting the astrology is what I want to say. And I want to say that's always the case. Like, that is always the case. And it has helped me so much because I can be having things happening in my life where I would be really reactive. Like, I went through a period when last year with Scorpio season. When Scorpio season started, I went into this experience with my son's father that historically would have sent me into hell around what I would say is his treatment of me, or the way he thinks of me, or the way he behaves in response to me, like all sort of victim stuff. And because of the astrology though, right? Because of the astrology and because I know my natal chart, when these things happen, now I know that something else is going on. It's not what's at the surface, because the astrology is the energy behind the actual experience. It's like, if you go to a play, you watch the play and you see the players, but you didn't see the stage that had to be set before the players got there. You didn't see the authors writing out the script, taking months or years to write out the script. You didn't see everything that had to go on in order for that play to actually happen at that time while you were there. You didn't see any of that. And because you didn't see it, you don't take in that there's so many things happening that have to occur in order for you to be able to sit and watch the show. Now, what the astrology does for me is it lets me know, don't pay attention to the actors on the stage. Don't watch the actors on the stage. Know that there were all these things that happened to get there. And if you don't like what's happening on the stage, you can change it by going to be with what's going on behind the scenes. And it is such a profound thing because it has helped me change the direction of my life. I have changed the course of my life because I have stopped being reactive to the actual experiences that I'm having and started realizing that, what's actually happening right now it might look like, my ego will say, my ex-husband is disrespecting me. It might look like that, right? But when I go to the astrology says, nope, he's not disrespecting you. He's just being in the configuration of you guys' astrological connection, which is he's a Sagittarius and I'm a Virgo. So because he's a Sagittarius and I'm a Virgo, his energy overtakes me. So anything he does, I am likely to feel some way about it because Sag squares Virgo. Now, you might not, none of that might mean anything to you, right? But to square means that Sag is always going to take me out of my comfort zone. Whenever I'm with people who have a lot of Sagittarius energy, it always will take me out of my comfort zone. So now, instead of telling the story that he's disrespecting me I can go, okay, I'm just out of my comfort zone. Okay, so that's okay. I'm okay with being out of my comfort zone. Yes, because you're a Virgo, Divine Feminine Works. I'm okay with being out of my comfort zone. Now, how can I be with this in a way that is going to benefit me? Rather than just being like, he did this and he did that and I'm going, okay, look at the experience and see, how can I allow this to grow me? How can I move me? How can I allow this to, rather than making him a villain, how can I actually make him a teacher? How can I actually make him a teacher or make him somebody who is a teammate of mine rather than somebody who seems to be functioning against me? How can I do that? How can I allow myself to have a new experience with this very old thing that it shows up as my ex-husband, right? But guess who it really is? It's my father, because it's an energetic imprint. And the masculine always shows up as how we were originally imprinted. And you don't think about your actual father. You think about how the masculine imprinted you as a child. What did you feel about your father? What did you feel about his relationship with your mother? I talk to so many clients and they don't know their fathers, right? And I can see that in the chart, right? You don't know your father, you might have Neptune in the 4th house, Saturn in the 12th house, right? Things like that. So what happens is when they don't know their father, they think like, oh, he's just not present. But what that is, oftentimes it could be abandonment. So then you have relationships with men who aren't really present, where your needs are not really being met. Like they're there, but they're not there in the way that best satisfies your fulfillment. Or the same for women, right? If you whatever your relationship, you're a man, whatever your relationship was to your mother, however you really experienced her, how you felt about your connection to her is how you will experience the women in your life. And this thing that I'm starting to really understand is that the astrology is the energy behind everything. So when I go behind, then I can actually move a mountain. So rather than me being like, oh, my ex-husband, he disrespected me, he did this, he did that. When I go and look at, oh, this is just offering me another perspective. So let me say this first. I had to do the work on my trauma. I had to do the work on my trauma to be able to get to the place where I could look at a situation and not be triggered by it. I had to go into the triggers countless fucking times. He would do something, I'd be triggered. I had to feel the trigger. What am I triggered about? And I would have to observe what I was actually triggered about, to the point now I am no longer triggered, not in the way that I was. So, but in that, so it's a process. So what I'm trying to say is, this is a process of changing your mind and changing your behaviors and moving through it. Yes, this is a process of that. I wish there was a quick fix, you guys. There is not a motherfucking quick fix. Some of us are some people are good at math and some people are good at English. So people are, you're going to get through it in the time period that you get through it. But there is no quick fix and there's no other way around it. Because we're living out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. So all of us have to do the work to reconfigure our energies. All of us have to do the work to reconfigure our energies in this new way. It's like the update. You have to update your computer. You have to update your phone. If you don't update it, then it's still functioning at, iOS, whatever, right? So you have to update your own software of your own consciousness, y'all. And that is going to be, because we're in the age of Aquarius and the universe is now honoring your individuality, it's important for you to know who you are. You have to know yourself. And you have to know yourself in alignment with your blueprint, not in alignment with, oh, I just want to have a lot of money, or I just want to have this. Don't know yourself in connection to the 3D reality. Know yourself at the connection of your spirit and soul self, because that is the energy behind the energy that is here in the 3D reality. Your spirit and soul self is your astrological makeup that you then present and project into this reality. But you have to know who you are. You have to know how the creator created you, right? Like the creator created birds to fly. The creator created giraffes to eat from the top of the trees. The creator created ants to work in colonies together. How were you created? You got to fucking know it. And it can't be something that is based on, other people liking you or belonging or being. It's not based on that stuff. It's based on how you're really made, right? It's based on, and if you're not honoring how your true makeup, it won't work. It won't work. Because it's important. What you're doing is doing the work to download, to bring your whole soul self into your physical body. So I came here for a reason today, and I haven't even touched it yet. So today is a Mercury day, y'all. And Mercury is getting ready to go retrograde. So I really want to invite you guys to join the Mercury retrograde class. The next 3 Mercury retrogrades that are going to happen this year are going to be life-changing. Mercury retrogrades are life-changing. We don't think that they are, because I don't know why we don't, but they are. They're life. The Mercury and the moon cycles, because the moon moves every 28 days through around the whole constellation, and Mercury moves is the planet that is closest to the sun. So this Mercury retrograde, we are going to be working on recoding, right? Recoding, reconditioning, reprogramming, reorienting your mind, Mercury is your mind, around your value system. Your value system is how you speak to yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you relate to the 3D reality, how you create wealth, how you generate your life, how you make money, how you are to exist here, your senses. All of that is Taurus, right? And it is the key. You are a configuration of sensory systems that regulates this 3D reality based upon how you feel about yourself. That's all that you are. And when you understand that you can reprogram it, you can reprogram yourself to wealth. You can reprogram yourself to health. You can reprogram yourself to expansion. You can reprogram yourself to self-esteem and worthiness. You can reprogram yourself. And that is the beauty of this reality, is that it's malleable. It's not fixed. And the universe is giving us the tools and everything we need at all times if we just follow the astrology. And, there's so much out there. Like, the world is about to change in a really rapid way. And the world that we have known, one day we won't even recognize it. It'll be like, we will literally, it's going to happen so fast, you guys. It's starting to happen. We're not going to recognize it. But it's the more you keep your energy open at the top, the more you are in a constant reconfiguration of who you are and how you relate to this reality. And you begin to have different conversations around the reality. Like I was telling you, so now if I get triggered by my ex-husband, I have a different conversation. In the past, I would be, he did this and he don't like me and he did this. But so I changed the conversation. And now my conversation is, okay, this is just triggering me into another level of expansion. I'm no longer telling myself that I'm a victim of this behavior. Now I'm saying that this experience is actually here to trigger me into another way of seeing myself. So that is a different configuration. I've changed my language around the way I say that Mercury is is the day that rules Wednesday. I don't think in the ways that we were given the days of the week anymore. I no longer see numbers as just numbers. I see them as codes. I no longer see myself as a black woman who's in America dealing with racism and man problems and all of this kind of shit. I now see myself as a melanated being who is here to serve humanity and becoming its best and highest self. I no longer see myself as a mother who's here to organize somebody else's life and have dominion over another person's life. I see myself as someone who is here to support another human being and being who they're truly meant to be, that being their God selves. I no longer see white people as racist and murderers and killers and people who are here to oppose my growth and evolution. I now see them as people who are here creating an opportunity for me to expand beyond my wildest imagination and come into my highest divine codes as possible, because I know that opposition creates the greatest level of strength and expansion and love and joy that is possible. Because I'm willing to face my opposition, I need that opposition in order for me to become myself, right? So everything has to be motherfucking reprogrammed. You have to begin to take everything that you see and give yourself a new narrative about it, but you can't cheat. You have to also recode the body. So if you have visceral experiences of pain or fear that are in your body, you have to walk through that stuff. You can't skip it. You can't skip over it. You can't act like, because that is the trauma. And what is the trauma? It's when we embody lies, because your consciousness knows truth. So if you embodied a lie like, I need a human to save me, that then becomes trauma, because that is not the truth. You don't need another human to save you, right? So when I was believing that I needed Jesus to save me, every time I was thinking that thought that I wasn't it and somebody else was it, I was traumatizing my system and collapsing my own energy power so that it wouldn't be able to generate fully to save myself. Because that thing I was telling myself was a lie, and every lie you believe is trauma. And so, why? Because we live in a mental reality, and our mental reality thrives in truth, in alignment with natural cycles that are truth. They're pure truth, right? So when you believe something like, oh, I believe I need a husband in order for me to be happy, that's a lie, because you don't need anything in order to be happy outside of you. So then I would collapse my own power, and then that power would then be sucked in and going negative against myself. So you cannot skip healing your trauma, because that is your sensory system, and that is Mercury and Taurus. You have to align your mind, and your feelings have to be aligned in one. Your mind is the masculine, your feelings is the feminine. How you think and how you feel have to be in alignment, right? The most basic way is, were your mother and father in alignment with one another? Because that's how you were coded. If your mother felt one way and your father acted another way, then you have opposing energetic systems inside of you, because that's what you were coded with through your parents, and they were coded with that through their parents, and they were coded with that through their parents. So you'll continue to attract relationships that create things going against one another. But the minute you begin to recode your own system so that things are in harmony, then you will experience the harmony, because guess what? The universe is honoring the age of Aquarius. So you being true to yourself will align yourself. The universe will then align you to these codes of you being true to yourself, and your reality will express that. And you are not subject to anybody else's reality. You are not subject to, so whatever's going on in the U.S. United States agreement, that don't have shit to do with you. That's the U.S.'s system, right? We all have our own, we are all individual and unique. So you can stand in your individuality, and if you can stand in it and hold it, the universe is going to honor it. You're not subject to all that other stuff. All right, you all. You guys can register for Mercury Retrograde in my profile link. The class in totality is $220. It goes from now until June 1st. You can register. The last day to register is going to be on April 21st. We are having an eclipse coming up, you guys, as well. Like everything is about to change. Everything is changing. And so I just encourage you, the more we do this work, the thing about this work that's interesting is that it's invisible and it's all you. It's all you. And we think that the changes are going to come from the external. That's why we march and protest. And it's not external at all. It's all internal. And when you transform from within, the external must bow down. It must conform to your internal codes. It cannot be any different, right? But it's not just, you have to create the frequency. You have to vibrate at, you have to live. It's not just words. Words are a part of it. It's not just feelings. Feelings are a part of it. You have your entire system has to be in alignment with with the frequency of who you are. And you are not just this physical system. You have an emotional body, a physical body, a shadow body, a spiritual body. You have 12 bodies that are invisible that you cannot see. And they have more power than your physical body. Those bodies that you cannot see have more power than your physical body. They do. Because the physical is what is already dying. The physical is in a constant state of death, y'all. It's the invisible that needs to be addressed. And so we have this opportunity right now to really recode ourselves. And the easiest way I know to do it is just to simply follow the moon cycles. Right? So I have a moon cycle class that begins on the 14th. We're going to be doing the new moon in Taurus and the full moon. It's actually going to be the new moon in Aries at the eclipse point, which is going to, the eclipse, think about where you were 19 years ago. We had an eclipse here 19 years ago. So you think about where that was. So this cycle coming up is going to be an adjustment from a 19-year cycle. 19 years ago, I was 35. Wow, 19 years ago, I was 35. I just got married. Or I was really wanting to get married. No, was I getting married? Did I get married at 35? Yeah, I think I got married at 35. And so I stepped deeply into my shadow. Like I stepped deeply into a karmic energy where I had to really do some profound work. And I am closing that cycle now. I have completed that work. And that work was the work of me healing the masculine in my own life. And it was about my relationship to my father. And I'm going to tell y'all what it was, right? It was, so yes, it was, my father was abusive to my mother, and he was a pimp, and my mother was a prostitute and all that sort of stuff, right? But the problem was, or the opportunity was, that I judged it. That I looked at my parents and thought that they were wrong because of how they behaved, and judged them for not taking care of me in the way I thought that I should be taken care of, and not believing that exactly what they were doing is exactly what I was going to need. Because I needed the lessons that they had. But because I judged it, I collapsed my power and I was subject to it. Because I judged it and made them wrong and made them not good enough, and how fucking dare they, and how all that. Because I judged it, I collapsed my power and I didn't have access to being who I really thought I wanted to be. So can you heal your relationship with your father? Yes, of course you can heal your relationship with your father without a physical prayer. Absolutely you can. So, yeah, so that is what I was doing 19 years ago. And here's the thing I want to say, Valentina. You are healing your relationship with your father with every man in your life, right? But you are also healing your relationship with your father by changing your beliefs about the experience. That's it. By changing the story you tell yourself. So I had to realize that my father was doing exactly what my mother wanted him to do. And you got, yes, so my father used to beat my mother black and blue. And that was their agreement. That was their agreement. That sounds crazy. Whatever. I don't even matter. That was their agreement. And because that was their agreement, that was what they were doing. And it took me really understanding my mother's astrology. My mother was an Aries. And when I started really reading her astrology, I was like, oh, that's why they fought. Because most Aries, whether they know it or not, are they have a to fight. There is a fight inside of them. And so they're quick-tempered, and my mother would ignite fights with him. And it's usually because they need, this sounds weird, but you know, everything what they told us in our reality is a lie. Aries often need physical, they need this, right? And you can get that in all kind of ways. But if you're not getting it, your subconscious is going to find other ways for you to get it. So my mother just needed rigor. She needed rigor and physical in her body. And because she didn't understand that that's what she needed to be physically active. And so it just showed up in her relationship with my father, where they physically fought. And that was what it was. But our world would have us say that that's because we don't go behind the scenes. We only look at the external reality and we don't know the full picture. What's going on behind the scenes? That's why I'm saying you got to really understand your astrology so that you know what's going on behind the scenes. Why is this happening in my life? I know what's happening, but why is it happening? What's at the root of it? And we look at stuff and we judge it and we go, it shouldn't be that, and that's wrong. And then when you judge it, you create it more and more and more. When you judge it, you expand it. So it's the acceptance of it that integrates it. It's the acceptance of it as a lesson, as an opportunity, as a growth experience. It's the acceptance of it, right? And you can grow from everything if you're willing to. You can grow from everything. And that's the challenge that we're having here in our country. We've not been willing to grow from any of these experiences that we've been having. We've not been willing to grow from slavery. We've not been willing to grow from, any of the experiences. Oh, that's not me. That's not mine. I'm not. But if you're here and it's in your reality, then it's yours. In some way, it might be minuscule, but it's just to take it in and say, how can I learn from this? But the more we reject stuff, the more we have to continue to live into those karmic experiences because you're rejecting it. And so I rejected my parents. I rejected their ways of being. I rejected their behavior and I judged it. So I had to live in the karmic cycles of it. And then so I had one of my first partners. We used to physically fight. And every man in my life was somehow an aspect of my father. Until I got it, until I saw it. This is your judgment. Because you judge it, you have to. What does the Bible say? Judge not so that you won't be judged. That is the real thing. Like literally the thing you judge, you claim. So because I judged them, I was trapped in a subconscious cycle of the judgment that I cast upon them. And when I got it and was like, this is why I'm repeating these cycles. This is why and started doing the work to heal the trauma, then I could get myself free of it. And now that's not my experience any longer. So, all right, you guys, I'm also going to be offering Mercury retrograde readings. I'll put the link for that as well. You guys can look at my calendar. You can visit my website at moniqueruffin.com and you can sign up for your Mercury retrograde readings. You can go to my profile link and sign up for the Mercury retrograde class. And you can also go to my profile link and sign up for the 13 moons for this month, where we're going to be reprogramming our value system. How we feel about ourselves, how we speak about ourselves. How you feel about yourself and how you speak about yourself determines everything. How much money you can make, how much love you can experience, how much joy you can experience. And you must reprogram that. You must reprogram it, because we're all programmed in the experience of white supremacy right now. It has taken me a good 12 or 13 years to do the work that I've done. Because I've done it and I know that it works, you won't have to do it. It won't take you that long, right? That's just not how it works. It gets shorter and shorter and shorter, but it does take some time. You do have to devote yourself to yourself. All right. Peace and blessings. I love y'all. Bye-bye.